Mr. Crypto Guy.
I'm extraordinarily busy, sir.
I just wanted to ask about the profit. The lifetime supply of crypto profits for Charlie. When does he get it?
He doesn't.
Why not?
Because he broke the rules.
What rules? We didn't see any rules, and did we, Charlie?
Wrong, sir, wrong! Under page 4 of my Twitter feed 5 months ago on the tweet liked by him, it states quite clearly that all profits will become null and wrecked if ignored, and you can read for yourself on this photostatic copy. Do not invest more than you can afford to lose. This is not financial advice, etc., etc. Never buy and sell on emotion. Always have a plan, etc., etc. Never get complacent and learn to manage risk. It's all there, black and white, clear as crystal. You FOMO'd in at the top. You blew out your account and you panic sold at the bottom. So you get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of CryptoZombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great weekend. Bitcoin looking like it was trying to push down. Everyone running for the hills saying this is the top. It's over. 30% correction incoming. And as we speak, the dip is getting bought back up again. But at some point, we are looking for that major correction. How much steam do the bulls still have? Well, I want to go over some critical levels today. I also want to talk about a scary fractal that is sort of mimicking what happened back in 2017. And if this plays out, you are looking for Bitcoin to have a little bit of a pullback, potentially $14,000 and lower. But I want to show you in today's video, because why not? We haven't looked at the bearish scenario in a little bit. I want to talk about my personal worst case scenario for Bitcoin based on what Bitcoin did over the past 3 years. We have so much data to go by at this point. So we'll talk about the worst case scenario. I'll give you a hint. It's still bullish. It's just a little bit of a retrace, but we'll get into that. I do want to talk about, though, what has been going on. Who has been buying Bitcoin? Who has been pushing Bitcoin up? Insane. I mean, literally back in October, we were sitting down around $10,000, and today we've hit $16,000. What is actually behind this price drive, and does it actually have the momentum to continue? That's what we're going to go over in today's video. We also do have some big crypto news, as well as the Wyoming elected senator actually getting behind Bitcoin and saying she owns some and why she's bullish on it. We had the big news from PayPal, which I'll go over. And also a lot of people are asking me about DeFi, altcoins, and things of that nature. I have steered clear because we were having a bit of a correction. I do, however, think it could be a potential opportunity to start accumulating some of these DeFi coins again. I do think we may have a second go at it after the original DeFi bubble. So we may start talking about some projects that I do have my eyes on. Have a couple at the end of this video if that interests you. So we're going to talk about Bitcoin price, worst case scenario, more adoption, DeFi, and if that sounds good to you, smash the likes, get subscribed, or just drop a comment and simply say hello, because we do give away a Ledger Nano S every single Monday. Drop a comment, you are eligible. So let's dive in. Let's have a look. Now, the one thing I want to talk about is Bitcoin price history at these levels. The reason that we're sort of getting into this very critical territory is because you could see that Bitcoin has only spent 14 days ever in its entire existence above $16,000. 6 days above $17,000, 3 days above $18,000, and only one measly day in its entire history above $19,000. Now, keep in mind, in 2017, Bitcoin went from $6,000 to $20,000 in just 5 weeks. We have more than 5 weeks left to the end of this year. It is actually possible that we could still hit a $20,000 Bitcoin and even break through that level by the end of this year. And if you don't believe me, just check the charts and see what we did historically, right? Now, talking about what we did do recently, we did break out of the ascending triangle right here. You can see we finally had that break, and we retested the trend line of the bottom of the triangle, and that is currently getting bought up right now as we speak. So it is pretty actually shocking, bullish, but sort of surprising to see how consistently the dips have been bought up. And the thing is we haven't even seen a blow off top in the way that we saw back in 2017, right? Where you have that giant wick all the way up and all the way back down. We haven't even had that. We actually just continue to grind slowly up and up, a little bit of a retracement, higher low, and you could see we did that during the entire past 2 years. And once we broke this critical resistance, Bitcoin really pushed up to those higher levels. Now, like Josh Rager says, he says, keep an eye on these key Bitcoin price levels, the daily weeklies from 2017 and 2018 highs. They could get rejected before moving higher. But after around 17,200, there really isn't anything standing in the way between a $19,000 Bitcoin. And we have seen those $1,000, $2,000 candles in a day. We've seen it. And that could be something that we're setting up for if we continue. Now, there was sort of this evaluation of us being in a potential rising wedge pattern. I did want to just bring that up again. Rising wedges are inherently bearish. They usually signal trend reversals, especially in an uptrend. So that would mean that we would continue to get up here in this tightening range before eventually falling down and retesting this level. But keep in mind, that would still be flipping the previous resistance support. So that could bring us back down to below the $14,000 level. In fact, like Coiner Yadox pointed out, what Bitcoin is doing right now has a very, very similar structure to what happened right around the 2017 all-time high, the $20,000 Bitcoin, right? And if this fractal does play out, you could see Bitcoin pushing back down below 14,000. Now, obviously, we stopped on the weekend with the CME charts hitting the highest resistance ever in the history of the CMEs, putting in what I believe to be a giant double bottom, or we could be putting in, if you ignore this area, a bit of a cup and handle, maybe come down and retest the 12,004 before bouncing up higher. Now, this is also a double bottom. And no, this is not Bitcoin. This is actually the US hospitalizations of the virus, which shall not be named, continuing to hit highs, up 25% in the past week and 90% over in the past month. Now, keep in mind, although Bitcoin has been on a tear and Bitcoin has shown that it is not being correlated, if we do in fact have another resurgence, a lockdown, they're already starting to close. They're doing a curfew now in New York again. All bars and restaurants and gyms have to close at 10 p.m. again. We're doing this all over again. So could that affect the stocks? Could that trickle into Bitcoin? Could we have another second resurgence of the fear and have another potential black swan event? It is possible. I do think that this time around we're a little more ready for it. We're a little more prepared for it. The first lockdown, we really didn't know what was happening. Now it's kind of just like, all right, guys, you know the drill, lockdown again, right? So I don't think it'll have as serious effect on the markets. The other thing, looking at the technical, is the RSI cannot seem to break above the 85 level. Now, 85, why that number? I'm not really sure what is the significance of that number, but historically speaking, we have seen 85 as a critical level for Bitcoin momentum in uptrends. And you can see we've actually had 3 rejections, 4 kind of if you count recently, right here, and sort of a double rejection that just happened recently. So every time we hit that line, we have a little bit of a pullback on the RSI, right? But let's talk worst case scenario for my Bitcoin bears out there. What is the cheapest that we could possibly get Bitcoin? How low could Bitcoin realistically go before having the major blast off? Or are we just going to just blast right through 20K? I don't know. At the rate we're going, that's a possibility. But I do like to, be a little bit realistic here. Don't overextend yourself. Don't be throwing money and buying the tops. Long term, yeah, we're going to 100K, 300K, a million for Bitcoin. Short term, you could get wrecked, especially if you're trading leverage. Do be careful out there during these times where we're sort of at these extreme high levels. But the 21 exponential on the weekly is a moving average that we used to talk about a lot on this channel, and it was something that I really considered bullish once we broke above it back here in 2019 and above it again after we had the scare with the pandemic. Now, you could see during 2017, this level acted as the resistance. Now, we did have multiple 30%, 40% pullbacks, but every single pullback, you could see every time we'd ride on it and we'd bounce off it, and we'd go a little bit higher and we'd bounce off it, right? Now, it is currently clearly sloping upwards in an uptrend. I do believe we are in a bull market. I do believe we're in an uptrend. I do believe Bitcoin's going to be a lot higher next year than it is right now, at least by fivefold. But you could see that where that level is currently is sitting at about $11,800. Now, considering that we've had a beautiful test of it here, an amazing test of it in September of this year, where we actually wicked below it, bounced off of it multiple times, that tells me that this is the lowest we will go. So my friends, my final verdict, the lowest price you are probably going to see Bitcoin ever again is $11,800. I'm willing to let you quote me on that, because if we don't, well, then we're going to go back into a bear market, and I don't think that's going to happen. I'm pretty sure that this is the, really probably, we're like somewhere between the third and fourth year of the cycle, okay? I think we're going to have a topping out either at the end of next year or Q1 potentially of 2022. So right now, like I said, that is my worst case scenario. But let me know. Maybe you have a even worse case scenario than I have. And the thing is, having a look right here, look at these institutional accumulations, these bubble locations where Bitcoins were essentially inflowed or accumulated by different wallet sizes. You can see right here. This is an example. So basically, Whale Map says, imagine one has a Bitcoin wallet with over 10,000 Bitcoin. Then imagine that wallet had inflows. Bitcoin was bought by this wallet, and at the 27 peak, the 2018 3K bottom, and just now at 9K in May. Since then, the wallet has not touched these inflows. In other words, it still holds the Bitcoin. Bubbles show locations and amounts where these inflows have happened. And look at all of this accumulation right between 12K up to 16K. That is a lot of institutional buying. I'm not seeing bubbles that big down here. So a lot of new high net worth individuals, smart money, whales, whatever you want to call them, came in here. They do not want to lose money on their investments, and they started accumulating around the $12,000 level. So if we look at the fact back here that the worst case points to falling to about 11,800, and we saw the majority of these guys coming in and buying at around 12K, I would definitely say that they're not going to want to lose money on their investments. They will want to keep them afloat, and I just don't see Bitcoin going below those levels. So that is that situation. In fact, having a look at this article over from express.co.uk, Bitcoin rally will smash through former highest prices as the whole industry begins to pile in. I mean, we have literally seen Paul Tudor Jones, Stan Druckenmiller, Max Kaiser says basically once Paul Tudor Jones got in, that triggered all potential investors to get in. I mean, this guy is very, very well respected, in the space. And yeah, there's 100 trillion in actively managed global wealth that is eligible to start buying Bitcoin. And if they do in fact start buying, yeah, I mean, they can buy OTC, but there is most likely not enough demand, not enough supply to meet that demand. And it's not only just these high net worth individuals, these institutions. We're also seeing even over here, you have Cynthia Loomis speaks live on ABC News. She's Wyoming's elected senator, and they ask her about Bitcoin. And now you're even having these senators, talk about why Bitcoin is better than the dollar, and she even admits to holding some. I'll actually play the clip for you super quick.
Senator-elect, you got another first under your belt. This one, very interesting. You're the first senator to own Bitcoin. I'm going to be fully transparent here and say I'm not well-versed in Bitcoin, but I know that there are a couple people who believe, yes, you should be an advocate for this type of currency, and there are other people who are raising some concerns that this could be a front for money laundering or for some sort of tax evasion. Where do you stand? Do you hope to bring Bitcoin into the national conversation?
I do hope to bring Bitcoin into the national conversation. I'm a former state treasurer, and I invested our state's permanent funds. So I was always looking for a good store of value, and Bitcoin fits that bill. Our own currency inflates. Bitcoin does not. It's 21 million Bitcoin will be mined, and that's it. It is a finite supply. So I have confidence that this is going to be an important player in stores of value for a long time to come.
Well, we are more well-versed now after that answer.
And like Robert Kiyosaki said, Bitcoin boom has been beating gold and silver. What does that mean? It means you better buy as much as you can now. The train is moving. The dollar dollar is dying. As the dollar crashes, what counts is not price, but how many coins of gold, silver, or Bitcoin do you own? And I actually like this. I'm going to give it a little bit of a retweet. There you go. Robert Kiyosaki. Now, we did have the big news that came out from PayPal. Now, I know this has had a little bit of criticism over the fact of how PayPal is doing it. However, they have it available currently right now. They turned their waiting list off. They even upped the limit from 10,000 to 20,000 per week. And you got Dan Schulman, the CEO of PayPal, saying that the shift to support crypto is driven by what he sees as an inevitable drift towards virtual currencies. He says the shift to digital forms of currencies is inevitable, bringing with it clear advantages in terms of financial inclusion and access, efficiency, speed, and resilience of the payment system, and the ability for governments to disperse funds to citizens quickly. Now, currently right now, from what I'm aware of, I have not personally tried it. I don't really need to use PayPal. I'm very well versed in Bitcoin, clearly, but for the average person, now there's no excuse. There's over 360 million people using PayPal. I think that's the number right now as we speak. It is available to all of them right now. And yes, essentially, you may not really be owning it. You're just sort of, buying PayPal's version of an IOU of Bitcoin, but whatever it might be, the fact is that it is a step forward. And interestingly enough, you still do get exposure to the asset through its volatility, right? So you still will get to see the dollar change, the value change, and I think that'll spark people, especially if Bitcoin does start to go up and they buy a little bit on PayPal, they see the number go up, right? That's what gets most people, number go up, right? That's why everyone gets excited, because the number goes up and then they want to buy more, they want to learn more about it. So I still do see it as a positive for the space moving forward. However, let's talk about DeFi. I haven't really talked about it too much on the channel. I really do think we had that sort of first wave, the first bubble-esque of the DeFi boom. We were farming vegetables, and now we're moving on to the next levels of DeFi. And there was this article, which I'm not going to go into, but it kind of made me think. He says the DeFi market desperately needs to connect with real-world assets. And this is a problem, right? How are we going to actually get decentralized finance to make sense with the traditionalized way of dealing with these financial assets, commodities, etc.? Because not everything is digital, not everything is on a blockchain. We still do have real things in the real world, right? And that is honestly why, you've seen oracles do really well, like Chainlink, obviously, clearly, Dia as well, is they actually can help to link these real world events, these real world scenarios, assets to the actual blockchain. Now, I just wanted to mention real quick, they did in fact partner, they didn't partner, but they're going to be integrating with the Polkadot ecosystem. So projects building DeFi dApps or any other applications on the platform will be furnished with transparently accessible and verified real world data. Now, you guys know that I have been very bullish on Polkadot. It actually has personally been an excellent opportunity to accumulate. I've been buying as often as I can. I know that it might be looking a little bit boring, but I think that these levels are not going to be where they are for a while. So having the opportunity to accumulate right now while Bitcoin is sort of stealing the show, that could be the key, especially if you're looking into altcoins. Some of the altcoins that we've spoken about, for example, Polkastarter, they've actually partnered over with Covalent. They're going to help bring more transparency and anti-scam measures to token sales facilitated on the Polkastarter ecosystem. And we do know that Polkadot ecosystem will be having their own fundraisers, ICO token sales, whatever you want to call them. They're actually the IPOs, right? Because they're going to be using the token. We went over this before, but it's going to be like a new model as well. And some of the other projects that I've had my eyes on, one of them is CyberFi. They recently just came out. Now, the problem is right now we have all these different DeFi opportunities, right? You can yield farm, you can use things like Uniswap, but they still really aren't integrated that well. They're a little bit complicated, and the experience is not exactly user-friendly for beginners, right? I mean, now we take for granted how easy it is to use Uniswap and stuff, but when we first started out, it was very difficult to learn all these things. ERC20s, what happens if you don't use enough gas, your transaction gets stuck? Do you actually know how to, cancel the transaction? Do you know how to revert back to the previous nonce and send it back to that? Most people don't know how to do that. It's a little complicated. So CyberFi, they're actually building an automation system that's going to feature multiple complex actions across farming, staking, liquidity pools, and LP tokens available for automation through a very simplified platform. Just imagine a nice, simple user experience where you can do all these complicated things that your already used to doing basically with centralized type exchanges, but now in the DeFi world. They're going to enable cross-chain automated complex event scenarios. I mean, you're talking about, things that could be between Binance Chain, Tron, Polkadot, Ethereum as well, obviously, and this will all be done for you automated. Now, you can see right here, they're basically referred to as an ITAP or an intelligent automation platform. Their platform is going to bring an end to the manual nature of DeFi applications like overpaying for fees, gas wars, the constant need to be on Uniswap 24/7, and finally the stress and frustration that have been inevitable in the DeFi market. So they are definitely a project I want to keep my eye on as well. DeFi automation standardization. This could be sort of the next evolution moving forward, right? Now, talking about automation and making things easier. Another product that I've been interested in is actually APY Finance. Now, they're dealing with smart contracts, continuously routing your funds to a portfolio of what they say is the latest and greatest yield farming strategies, or simply put, a yield farming robo-advisor. So it's very complicated to keep up with these yield farming rates. Also, do not forget, there is a ton of risk, especially once we see it get towards the end of the total supply. We always have these big dumps, these 90% dumps, right? Now, these guys at APY, they're getting connected with all of the lead protocols. I mean, you can see basically everything is here: Balancer, Curve, Sushi, Uniswap, Yearn as well. And they're going to give users a single place to deposit their liquidity. And I think this is the next evolution. These are where I am placing my bets on, is not now what we can do with DeFi, but how we can simplify it and make the user experience better, right? First, we had the iPhone, but what could we do with it? We couldn't do anything with it, right? First, we had the internet. We couldn't do anything with it, but then we were able to build these portals, build websites, build apps, build things that make it easier, right? And that's what I think I'm going to be looking at with a lot of these products. This platform handles all the heavy lifting. Every strategy is assigned a risk score using risk asset framework that calculates smart contract risk, financial risk, and centralization risk. APY then distributes user liquidity across its portfolio of yield farming strategies for risk-adjusted yield. So definitely keep your eyes on AP Finance as well as CyberFi. CyberFi actually had a relatively low raise, so I do think actually it came out and it did like a 40% dump initially. So a lot of the early investors got out, which could be good for people just getting in now, because I think it's relatively low. I think it's like either a $1 million or $2 million market cap. So not financial advice, guys. If Bitcoin takes a dump, everything could dump, but these are just some of the projects people have been asking me about. And also Bonded, just so you guys know, they are going to have their token generation event on Dolomite. Now they say to provide a comprehensive DeFi solution that can leverage the untapped liquidity in altcoins is their mission. Make altcoins great again was their slogan, right? So this is going to be over at finance. It's going to last for 1 week. It's going to start at 3 cents and end at about 5 cents. And it's going to go either until the hard stop of the 22nd or whenever it is sold out. But having a look right here, guys, it does appear that all of these dips are getting bought up. Like Josh Rager said, there is that potential. We do get stomped out at around those highs, 17,149. He's kind of looking at that level as being the critical level. We could have one more push to that level. It's possible. We might get into some crazy volatility. We might get some rejection. So like I said, be careful out there. I still am bullish. I still do think Bitcoin is going to be moving much higher. I did express to you the 21 exponential. It is sitting at around the $11,800 level. We did have the whale accumulations around the $12,000 level range, so I don't see us going much lower than that. And as you guys have been asking me, I did want to just go over a couple of the DeFi projects that I have on my radar. I'm not saying you should jump in and invest in them. I don't know what's going to happen with the altcoin space. I don't know what's going to happen with Bitcoin if we're going to top out now. It could drag the whole space down, but if you are looking to get into the altcoins, I do think, especially if Bitcoin does have another pullback, we might see the altcoins get hit. And if you are looking to, build your positions into some of the altcoins, not financial advice, that could be a good time. Or now could be a good time, depending on what Bitcoin does. So just wanted to let you guys know that is what I'm looking at. Of course, when we get into the crazy hardcore alt season, I'll definitely let you know. Right now, we could be going into a little mini one, but I don't think this is going to be as big as the previous cycle we saw. I think right now we've shifted our focus back into Bitcoin. So I think all eyes are on Bitcoin until we either hit a major resistance or we get back to that all-time high level. So could be totally different. Let me know. Maybe you agree. Maybe you disagree. Let me know. Drop a comment below if you want to win a Ledger Nano S. Also, check out the links below in the description. I got lots of different places you guys could trade, buy Bitcoin if you're new, all different tutorials and stuff. That is below. Join the free Telegram group if you'd like. We hang out. We talk crypto all day. And that is it for me today. So thank you so much for coming back to the channel. You guys rock. You're the reason that I do these videos in the first place. So thank you for stopping by. My name is K-Dub. This is CryptoZombie. Until next time, stay crypto. And of course, peace out.